Is there an appetite for that from the payers? Why or why not? What is the challenge of giving more light?
They don't operate any different than probably most companies operate. They think of their resources as energy, and they want to put that energy to work as effectively as they can. To the extent that a business case can be made to a payer that if you participate in this real-time pre-adjudication network, that there is financial or operational benefit to them, I just don't think anyone's been knocking on the doors very hard. And so if we start to do that, I think we will get a positive response.
Welcome back to the Dental Economist Show. I am your host, Mike Huffaker. And today is a special edition of the Dental Economist Show, coming to you live from the Planet DDS Ignite event in Newport Beach. And I'm here with longtime partners of ours from Dental Exchange. So Paul Kaiser, CEO of Dental Exchange, and Drew Hamilton, the CRO of Dental Exchange. We've worked incredibly closely with Dental Exchange for, I think, about 2 decades now. Continue to do a lot of exciting, innovative things. In fact, they power our auto eligibility product within Denticon. And so I'm really excited about the conversation today. Welcome, both of you. Thanks for joining.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Mike.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think the last time I had you on the podcast, Paul, was us sitting on stage at Ignite either 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember exactly when it was. It's the first time we ever recorded or published what was recorded live with no editing after the fact. And the audience, I got a lot of great feedback from that conversation. Since then, a lot has changed in the dental exchange world. You guys recently took on a large investment from KKR. KKR knows the dental space incredibly well. What is it that KKR saw in the business?
Yeah, thanks for the question, and thanks for having us here. I really appreciate it. You know, I think from my perspective, KKR saw an asset that sits at the center of the universe for the dental market. If you think about a patient, a practice, an insurance company, and what stitches them together in a sort of a seamless way relative to how the business of healthcare or dentistry gets done. A lot of that runs through the dental practice management system, integrated into Dental Exchange. We're the transaction data system and management system for probably close to 70% of the dental market. All claims, ERAs, eligibility transactions, and such flow through Dental Exchange. And so there's a lot of moats around what has been built over 30 years, and I think that was attractive to KKR, to be connected to every single payer in the country, to be integrated into generally every dental practice management system in the country. That's not something that can be replicated overnight. And so that was one. And then I think, two, there's just a myriad of ways for us to grow. And so when we think about our playbook, probably one of our biggest challenges is, what do we say no to? That is probably the biggest challenge, because we only have, just like any other organization, so many resources, so much time and attention that we can spend on different things. And so picking the right things to spend our time and attention and our energy on is of paramount importance. But I think the KKR, they looked at Dental Exchange and they couldn't stop finding ways that we could potentially grow. And as a private equity firm who generally at the most macro level wants to make an investment, help provide intelligence and guidance and further professionalization of the organization, so that maybe in 3, 5, 6 years they can get a return on that investment. I just think that they looked at Dental Exchange and thought, with as much as they know about the dental industry, we sit in a really good spot for them.
Yeah. So, Drew, I'd be curious your perspective here. I mean, we all know what happened with Change a few years ago. That was absolutely an accelerant for the growth of Dental Exchange. Yep. And you all did an amazing job at navigating through what was an incredibly challenging time for the industry as a whole, and building additional integrations and really kind of plugging the gap where practices were there going, I can't submit claims, I'm struggling with what we can do to serve our patients. And it creates all sorts of downstream effects with cash flow constraints and other things. But when you look at the acceleration of growth there and the large percentage of the market that you then owned within the dental space as a clearinghouse. Paul just alluded to a number of things that you are still looking at that provide opportunity for further growth moving forward. What are some of those things?
Yeah.
Where does the growth come from in the future?
Before I get into like specific levers we're pulling, I think it's worth sharing that when you have explosive growth like we had through sort of a one-time event, the Change Healthcare thing, the business tripled in revenue in like 3 or 4 months. And so there's a lot of maturing and hardening that the business needs to go through now. One of the reasons I've come on board and several others that Paul has brought on. And so when I look at the sales and marketing side of the house, it still behaves in many respects like the company it was before the Change Healthcare situation. So I think there is quite a bit of optimization to be had through just basic blocking and tackling, which we're instituting across the organization. And then I think we really want to be looked at as more than just a clearinghouse. Like that's the next stage of growth for us, is to say, hey, we don't want to be a utility. We want to be much more than that. So things like Eligibility AI, which you're familiar with, we're leveraging AI, and that's getting great market traction. You probably saw the Heartland press release recently on that. Reconcile AI is another product that we're about to bring to market, where we're reconciling bank data, claims, and ERAs. And so like those are 2 new AI products that I'm really excited about. Outsourced billing is another one that's a huge TAM. We have a business set up for that, and it's getting some real traction. So I think that that services business could be interesting for us as well. And then I think finally, I've spent the last 15 years before joining this business on the practice management side of the house. And I've really never seen a clearinghouse that has taken such a thoughtful, integrated approach through the PMS providers. It's really unique. And I think we'll continue to lean heavily into those relationships to pull that growth lever.
Yeah, the Heartland news was absolutely big news. And not only did I hear about it, but I had RJ on the podcast.
Yep.
And he shared a lot about his experience and what a fantastic experience he had working with your team that gave them the confidence to really move forward with that scale of a rollout. And I can certainly empathize with the growing faster, the need to harden systems. I think we did a number of acquisitions over the years, and between that and our organic growth, we oftentimes outgrew the processes that we needed to have in place to kind of stabilize and build that foundation to go to where you want to go in the future. I'd be curious with some of the areas that you just talked about, some of the new AI functions that you're looking at. Where does Dental Exchange have the right to win? There's a lot of competition in the market today. RCM has been very hot button for a very long time as a function within dental organizations that has maybe the most opportunity to fix processes and challenges that the practices and groups are facing today. When you see all the competitors out there that are doing maybe just elements or components of things that you also offer, where do you see the competitive advantage?
Well, first off, it's a big, big pie, and there's a lot of room for a lot of people to succeed. So I welcome the competition. It makes us all better. But I do think when you look at Dental Exchange, there's a couple differentiators. One, tried and trusted. We've been here for 30 years. We've got deep, deep relationships, both with partners, payers, and providers. And those go a long way when you're sitting at the table. Two, we are not a Series A business that's like needing funding to make payroll 2 quarters out. We are at scale, highly profitable with a great backer in KKR. So when we're sitting at the table, we're checking the tried and trusted, we're checking the financial resources box, and then we're bringing great products to market that are being validated by people like Heartland, like folks like you guys. And so there's more than that, but I think that those 3 are big right to win levers for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there anything like that to that?
Yeah, I think from a DNA perspective, it's been there for a long time, and it's not going to change anytime soon. I think our right to win is tied to the relationships that we have with dental practice management systems such as Planet DDS and the Denticon platform or the Cloud9 platform. I think if I were in your shoes or dental practice management system shoes, who I partner with matters. How they behave as an organization, how they sit at the table with me and think about channel conflict and making sure that we're going to have a cooperative experience, how we manage the client experience together, not independently. That all matters. And our entire go-to-market has been, sit down with the dental practice management system industry, understand where they see opportunity within their client base or prospective client bases, and figure out how we're going to partner together. We don't have a desire to go around the dental practice management system. We might have inside of Dental Exchange 12 to 15 people that have quotas, but we have 1,200 people out in this market selling their stuff, which comes along with ours. And so I think part of our right to win is the way we partner with people and how we treat that partnership and facilitate and foster that on an ongoing basis.
Yeah. Well, on that note, it's been exciting to partner with you all and to really look for ways to solve some of the more complex problems that our mutual customers are facing. Seems like there's a lot of opportunity out there to continue to do that. One of the maybe North Star things that the holy grail that people have talked about for a long time is real-time adjudication. I know there's a lot of complexity that goes into that, not to mention the fact that you need willing partners in the payers. But from your all's perspective, where do we sit with that? What is the potential to achieve that? And how do you see this unfolding?
I'll defer to you.
Okay. Great question. So when you say real-time pre-adjudication, that can mean, if you ask 10 people what is real-time pre-adjudication, you might get 10 different answers. And so the definition probably has some level of importance, but I'll start here. Today, right now, within Dental Exchange, we already support, I think it's 5 different payers across the country, in which if you submit a claim to us with no data service, in real time, within seconds, we'll return a full response in the form of an ERA so that you can understand how that potential claim is going to be paid. And so then it becomes, like I said earlier, how do we partner? And where in the workflow do you want that to get kicked off? And where do you want the results to show up? Traditionally, a claim gets submitted after I've already left the office, right? But if I'm still sitting in the chair, you've taken my x-ray of my mouth, you've prescribed a potential treatment plan, and in that same workflow, you can validate the treatment plan with how much the patient might owe, how the insurance is going to pay, what benefits I might have already used, all those sorts of things that would come back in a real-time response. That already exists across a handful of payers today. We're excited about going to our payer partners and making it exist uniformly across the board, and then partnering with you to put that into Denticon in a unique way at the right point of workflow so that there's real value there. And so if that's sort of a definition of pre-adjudication, real-time, elements of it exist today. You can use it today. We just need to add more payers. Probably the more, like, the holy-ish grail would be not just, when I think about pre-adjudication, the adjudication is the function of a payer receiving a claim, adjudicating it against their, the benefits plans, and then, telling a provider, here's your money and how you got paid, and why you might not have gotten paid what you wanted to get paid. In the age of AI, it opens up a lot of opportunity for us to play a significant role in doing that for the market, across payers in real time. With the amount of data that's flowing through Dental Exchange, there's no reason that we can't advance to submit a claim through Dental Exchange, get paid immediately. And then we'll figure out the construct with the payers behind the scenes. That's a real opportunity that we have some level of focus on right now. So to be shared probably more in details later, but that is not that far away in terms of what's available to us today.
And is there an appetite for that from the payers? Why or why not? What is the challenge in getting more alignment there?
So I'll split my answer kind of in two. Relative to the first one, which is submit a claim with no data service and get a real-time response. I think all payers sort of, they don't operate any different than probably most companies operate. they think of their resources as energy, and they want to put that energy to work as effectively as they can. That also creates internal alignment to their own goals, whether that's financial goals, operational goals, or what have you. And so to the extent that a business case can be made to a payer that if you participate in this real-time pre-adjudication network, that there is financial or operational benefit to them in the form of savings, maybe it's I can add more providers to my network, increase my revenue, grow the business, then I think they'll listen. I think it probably takes some committed parties like ourselves and maybe Planet DDS to sit down, create that business case, and start knocking on doors at payers. And I think they will participate. I just don't think anyone's been knocking on the doors very hard. And so if we start to do that, I think we will get a positive response. The other part of my earlier pre-adjudication real-time construct in which submit a claim to dental exchange, you get paid the next day. I don't know how much participation we need from payers to do that.
Sure. Right. Yeah. Okay. Well, the final question might be the most hard-hitting. So,
Oh boy.
yeah. So every year during our Ignite event, on the first day of the event at 6 a.m., we do what's called a civic pledge. Paul has participated in this before, so it's tomorrow at 6 a.m. Will we find you on the beach for this?
This is a very good question.
Without hesitation, 100% will be there. Looking forward to it. Now, I hear the waves are kind of kicking up right now, and so we got to make sure we're careful on where
We'll be careful.
our access point, but I'll be right behind you.
All right, awesome.
I just want Drew to know, once you're in,
Yeah.
it's not that bad.
That's what they all say.
That's what they all
Like,
say.
boy, going in. If it was one thing where you could jump off the pier,
Yeah.
so you just, it's like taking a shot or something, you get it all at once,
Yeah.
it would be so much better. But because you have to go in and the first thing is your feet, and then it's your shins, and then it's your knees, and you're trying to get in, and then you see a wave coming, and it's going to hit here.
Wow. I don't know if I'm going to be there now after. I was mentally ready until you gave me this.
I think I'm going to go. Since you're going to go, yeah. So I just want to say, 2 years ago when I did this, Kara Griffin was supposed to be there. She's on our team.
I was going to bring that up.
She was in my ear hole the whole time.
Yeah,
you got to
guess who
go.
didn't
You got
show
to
up?
do this. So we're doing this, and then I showed up, and guess who wasn't there?
Yeah,
Kara wasn't there.
Nope, and she will not ever live that down. So thank you, Kara. Thank you both very much for joining.
Absolutely,
Really
thank you.
appreciate the conversation.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Yeah.
The Dental Economist Show is brought to you by Planet DDS. To find out more about how cloud-based dental software by Planet DDS helps unleash dentists and their staff to focus on patient care, visit www.planetdds.com. Stay tuned for upcoming episodes by following wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks for listening.